participants. Sending claim host. The host key. 380.
Hi, Lori. I'll be with you in a minute, okay? I'm just getting some things settled.
Take your time.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Lori.
Hey, Diana, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. I'm just trying to make sure I have all the things on that they wanted us to put on. I think it has live transcript. It's showing that everything we're saying is showing up. So,
Says a participant has enabled closed captioning.
oh, good. Okay. And then I need live transcript. Let's see. It says, let me see. Click on CC live transcript.
There's a view full transcript under the more section, but
In the Moors, okay. When I hit more, all I get is breakout rooms option.
oh, you must have a different version than I do because I click more and it gets record on this computer captions and raise hand.
Huh. Yeah,
Oh
I
wait,
must have a different version.
that's if I minimize my window.
Oh,
Interesting.
let me go over here because I kept the participant thing open. Hold on. Let me, oops. Hi, Marlene. Let me put
Now I'm not muted.
Okay. We're
So
figuring
now
out
when
some
I have it
technical stuff.
just the four heads, I don't even get the more.
Meh.
I think it's okay. I think hopefully we're
There's an odd sound.
is there?
I hear an odd sound.
Could be my heater. Hold on.
Okay, now it's stopped.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Hello. I'm renaming. There. Do we have everybody coming today? Do we know?
I think
Or there-
everyone's coming.
Great.
So Stephanie and Ira. We'll give him a couple of minutes.
I am going to be most interested to see how this all works.
Me too.
And to see how we go from the amount requested down to what we have.
Well,
You
if
know.
it's anything like last year, we basically it ended up working out fantastic. We had to eliminate some people for like not meeting the requirements, and then it kind of worked out that everybody got 50% and there was like $1 left.
Everybody got 50% of what they requested.
Correct.
Ah, yeah, that would bring us in much closer. Yeah.
That's we've done it just having gone through this 4 different years. We've tackled it in different ways. We've done that. We've also done, we've funded all the low amounts so that we could say we have fully funded 10 projects, something like that. And then split, you know, gave different percentages to the other projects after eliminating the ones that didn't meet requirements. And other times we've just gone project by project and said,
Okay.
you know, I recommended 1,000, I recommended 750, I recommended 800,
Yeah,
and then
okay.
see
Mhm.
what
I could see funding some of the little ones, so we could say we fully funded, plus some of the little ones are such small amounts.
Yeah.
And I do have my contenders for being eliminated, but I want to hear from other people who have more experience, though I suspect I'm in the right ballpark,
Probably.
you know?
Well, I'm happy to
everybody.
start, or we can wait. Hi, Ira, or we can wait a little bit more for Stephanie, whatever you want, Lori and Ira.
Yeah, let's just give it a couple minutes. While we wait, it sounded like we're going over any general questions.
No, we were just talking about how one might approach it. We weren't doing anything that everybody needed to be here for.
I have a general
Yeah.
question. I have a
Yeah.
couple of general questions. Shall I ask now?
Yeah, let's do that now while we wait.
Okay, big general question. This is an open meeting. How do we know if somebody else is on it, or we do know that? We already know
It-
that, so we know it's only the 6 of us at this point.
We would see them on
Oh,
Zoom.
okay.
Yeah.
So if I applied, I could come on and watch your process.
Yes.
However, we would know that. It's not like somebody can be on sneakily.
No, but this
Yeah.
is recorded and people can watch it afterward.
Fine, okay.
And
All right.
sometimes they put them on WCAT TV.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Interesting.
I
So
mean,
I
I
shouldn't
know,
have
I-
just touched my
Oh,
nose.
I look fantastic.
That's what I was just
In the
picking my
past,
nose.
in the past, when we met in person, we did it in the ground floor room of the Civic Center, and we would have to
Wow.
leave a door open for anybody to come.
Okay.
And
wow.
no one ever came.
All right, I have watched I've watched the town council like a day or two later on YouTube, you know, even though I made a public statement at the last one, so I'm not gonna watch that one. Just because I don't really want to see what I said. I think I know what I said, but I don't really want, you know what I'm saying? Now, see, it just-
Yeah,
Anyway, whatever. That's a big general question. The other question was, you know, we have much more in requests than we have in money. Can I ask another general question?
sure. Yeah,
Okay, the money we have for reimbursement, you know, for meeting our applicants' requests, that's it. I mean, we don't have like a reserve fund or anything like that.
That's
That is it. Okay,
In
thank you.
total,
That
yep.
was another question.
Is that true? Because every year so far, there has been unclaimed money from the year past that
Yeah,
rolled
we're
over.
we're still getting reimbursement requests, so I'd like to assume that right now we're not
Okay.
going to be like I literally just got 2 this week, so
And anybody that claimed their program was happening before we even made a decision, it's on them. If they don't get a grant, too bad.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
yeah. Marlene, maybe, yeah, just a couple of things. Just, I don't know, stop me if you already covered this stuff, but generally, we have our guidelines, our criteria.
Yes,
that
I
we
have
established.
those.
Okay, great. So that's kind of like the first thing to sort of
Mhm.
rule people out, in or out, I guess. And that's kind of a pretty cut and dry, like if they don't meet those standards that we set.
Yeah.
Another consideration is that, and this is set at the Mass Cultural Council level, programs should be set up to either get other funding or happen independently, regardless of whether they get funding
Yes.
from arts councils, individual arts councils. So that's another one that, you know, it's kind of a flag for us, and we can decide, you know, going into
Okay.
it, but that's generally the guideline.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember anything else.
And we're not doing anything and holding back the 20% we could hold back as a council, correct? Because it said we could do something and hold back 20% of our amount to do that. I
We
have
had
the
said that
feeling
we
we're
would-
not.
We had said we would discuss doing that in future years, not at
Oh,
this
okay.
meeting, but we are not doing that this year.
Thank you. Those are my general questions.
Yeah.
And I did take a couple of the workshops, so I have a sort of a sense of things.
Great. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, sorry, I was
You didn't
a little-
miss anything. We're just going over a little bit of like how things went last year and just general questions. So now that Stephanie's here, are we good to jump into it?
Yeah.
Okay. Kathleen, are you able to take notes? I can take notes if not.
I can take notes.
Awesome. Thank
I'm
you.
probably also gonna like scribble a few notes into the Excel sheet.
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah. I actually just, I do, it would help
Also,
me. if-
I'm sorry, Google spreadsheet or whatever we're calling it now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to pay for Excel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, the Google Sheet is shareable in real time, whereas
Mhm.
Excel isn't. I
Right.
didn't, that was a little bit of an issue I had with the sheet beforehand. But
Yeah.
I'm happy to start and just give background, and also, you know, for the public, if anybody does watch this, if that's okay.
That's
Perfect.
great.
Mhm.
Sounds great.
We are the Wakefield Arts Council, formerly the Wakefield Local Cultural Council. And we are today talking about all the grant proposals that we received this fall in 2022, and deciding whom to disperse the $13,500 that the Mass Cultural Council has given the town of Wakefield, and how much each project. We do have a council priority list, which I have pulled up in front of me, and it's available on the Mass Cultural Council site. And that says things like, let me just give an example, like the programs demonstrate a tenable link to Wakefield artists, culture, and history. They should be in the arts or the humanities, programs that are innovative, a variety. And we gather this information from surveys, and both in person and in paper and online, at once every 3 years, and set those council priorities. And so we try to fulfill those requirements with the variety of programs that we disperse funding to. And it is a reimbursement type program. So once these programs have happened, they submit paperwork in order to get reimbursed and paid afterwards. So like Diana said, requests for reimbursement are still coming in from programs that happened this past year. What else?
Is there a deadline for when they can send it in? Like programs from this past year?
It used to be 1 year from the date of notification. So if the notification letters don't go out until March, even though your program could have already happened, you still would
Okay.
have a year
All
from
right, thank
March
you.
to submit the paperwork. It did change a little bit with the pandemic. You could just request an extension and get it. So I don't know if that's still applying. There's probably a little bit of wiggle room there.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. That's a good question. And I don't know when exactly our approval letters went out last year, but it was in the new year. So
Yeah,
they still
right.
must have at least a month or two.
I think it was around
Okay.
February.
I mean, even if it's February or something, they
Yeah.
still have time. Okay.
Okay, so we had 29 requests this year,
Mhm.
and there is this is public information, so there is a link on the Mass Cultural Council that anyone can go to and look at what the requests and the proposals were, and whether they, a draft was started, or a proposal was actually submitted, or any were withdrawn, which there were a few for Wakefield. So I will start with a little bit of history, because I have been on this council for 4 years. So I've seen several of these projects are repeat projects that get requests for funding every single year. And we have had the discussion in the past about whether We keep funding at a robust amount, projects that we know have an established history in Wakefield, have a strong link and a strong measure of success, or whether we fund more new things. These are just discussions we've had, so we could talk about that today. And then we usually eliminate several right off the beginning to make the conversation easier that don't meet the basic requirements of Wakefield's priorities. So this year we have, from my going through, we have more than usual. Usually we have like 4 or 5 that don't meet the basic requirement of having a location, a letter of support from the location, and a means of having the program go forward without the funding from the Cultural Council. I did notice, though, that the language has changed in our priorities. So right now the language says, predetermined venues and timelines are highly encouraged. It used to say they had to have a venue and they had to have a letter of support confirming that venue. So this is something that's changed during the pandemic, and that's something we could talk about. But that said, some of the projects that I've identified as ones that don't meet the requirements of a venue are, say, the Beatles project by Francis Hart. He applies every single year with the same exact application that does not change year to year. And we have written him a personal email saying, we like the project. We would love to see the project happen in Wakefield. He needs to do the work of securing a location beforehand and not ask us to do that work for him. And he never does. So this is one that we usually eliminate. I think he sends it out to several different towns, and some towns or cities are have different rules about which ones they accept. So that
Sarah, should we agree? If we agree with what you're saying, do we say it now and then we've as a group eliminated them? Not sure what, or do you just go forward and then?
we can, but can I give this other example first too?
Absolutely.
So a different one, I also highlighted the cranky musical storytelling as one that doesn't have a location. I don't know this one. This one is new to me. And she suggests having it at the library.
Yeah, it said in the library.
Well, she suggested that the library would be a good place to have it, but has no confirmation nor letter of support nor anything other. So to me, I can't tell whether she's just saying, I'd like to do this in your town and I think the library is a good venue. What flagged for me in that is that it said if she doesn't get funding, she would charge the library a fee for having it there. So this to me meant she really hadn't talked to anybody there yet. Normally Jackie Powers gives very easily a letter saying, yes, we are hosting this program. Yes, we're excited about it. Like I think they've hosted the Felting one many times. So Sarah, those to me are different circumstances. Like there's no history there, and maybe we want to talk about eliminating her, but maybe we give her the benefit of the doubt and say she'll have it. But I could, so those are two I guess gray areas that didn't necessarily exist before. But I could list the several projects that did not meet that location requirement if you'd like. So the Beatles, which was number 7. Henry the Juggler is also a repeat applier, also has not changed his application, even though we have said directly, this is why we don't choose to fund you. The Cranky the Musical one, although that was, again, a little bit different. The 2 Life Celebrations by John Porcino had no venue.
Yeah.
Can you give the page in the panel book for the
I should give the number of the grant.
Okay.
So, let's see. The Beatles was number 7.
Yeah,
on the list.
it was very vague.
Francis Hart. It's been the same application every year. I think he cuts and pastes and sends it to many different towns, and it's not a bad program. I think that would be a great program, but he literally has never done
the same thing
when we spelled it out to him what we wanted. Henry the Juggler is number 9. Henry Lappin. Cranky Musical Storytelling, Rebecca McInnes was number 12. So that was a vague venue, not no venue, but a questionable venue. And I really didn't like that they would charge the library if we didn't give. That to me just didn't sound well thought out or something that might be a benefit to Wakefield. 2 Life Celebrations, John Porcino was number 18. And the very final one, number 29, the Yes to Boston Comedy. Again, these didn't seem like bad projects, but it just wasn't a complete application in that sense of having a solid venue. nailed down. And also he asked, like, please suggest a place to have it. To me.
Right.
There are, you know, I see what you're doing, Diana. There are towns that do that though. So
I
it's not,
know.
you know, especially Somerville has like is tied to the arts, the council and their arts center. So they will say, like, we'd like to see this type of
Interesting.
project in the center. So there are different circumstances at different places. It's just not, it's not Wakefield, a tenable connection to Wakefield, I guess, which is one of our
Interesting.
priorities.
I appreciate that.
So those were the ones that I had identified there. And then there are two that it's not that they don't have a location, but didn't have the tenable location to Wakefield. And those were Drake at Arts, which was number 4. And this is very different from like the Greater Boston discounted tickets, because that has a long history, even though they're proposing similar things. The Drake at Arts was like a one-time thing where they're kind of hoping if anybody comes from Wakefield, then that a Wakefield person is benefiting. And it just didn't seem like a close enough connection that we would want to fund that project. And that they were throwing that out to all these different towns, just trying to get funding for their program.
Yeah.
And the Afternoon of Brass, number 20, which takes place in Boston and Worcester.
Right.
And it was a single performance that they're just hoping somebody from Wakefield might come to.
Yeah.
And that one was, I mean, that one, I thought there's a limit to 3 pages. He had about 70, no, he had 25 pages of attachments, it seemed.
Yeah, well, you have a limit to the upload, so some people put multiple pages in one PDF.
Oh,
And
that's what he did.
So those to me, and then there was one more, the number 22, Wakefield Do Your Art, which was a Zoom.
Right.
Also, I
Yeah.
think we changed just the beginning of the name, like Wakefield, to make it Wakefield specific, but it didn't seem Wakefield specific, nor have a close tie to WCIT, or it was just like a link, and I wasn't sure how they were going to promote it and actually reach the people of Wakefield. And those are the ones that really stood out to me as not having that close tie and significant benefit to the residents of Wakefield in order to fund. So
Sarah, I actually did the exact same ones that you did.
So that's eight that I would eliminate.
I had 2 I questioned for dissimilar reasons, but dissimilar but related. And those were the 2 being sent out by Music Dance EDU. They sent them to about, I mean, it felt like she sent the application. It's the hip hop chair dance for seniors, and I'm autistic, I am fantastic. Sent
So
them
they
out
have
to like 20 different LLCs.
So this is somebody with a long history in Wakefield. They've done
Okay,
that program many
that's-
times at the senior center. And that's what she does. She has this program in many different towns. And she does have a history here. We have funded her many times.
All right, I wondered about that one because it seemed to me like she was just sprinkling this grant all over the place. But if she has a history here, that's different. That's the piece I don't know. Okay.
So to give you a little bit of personal background, I do lectures on footwear making, and I apply for LCCs in many towns that have footwear making history, and then I give the same lecture in different places. So this is a similar circumstance.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew that, but I wondered, you know, if
I
this
think
was new
is
to us.
different than say the Beatles one, where it's gets sent to everybody and doesn't take into consideration the needs of each town.
And she does has locations here in Wakefield. And
yes,
you know,
and she has done it at the senior center several times.
okay, all right, thank you.
I have 2
clarifying.
that I do not want to fund, but they're not they're at religious venues. That's one of my beefs with public funding. And we could just come to them when we get to them, and I can tell you the history and how I have been disagreed with also many times. Or we can just move on from the beginning, which we've done in the past 2 at like number 1, number 2.
I've got one
Dana?
more.
One more for a no?
Last year we eliminated one because the event had already taken place, and the Dolbear one has already taken place.
That's not a reason for eliminating them. They can already
well,
take place.
it was the Drake it because like one of the reasons was that it had already taken place, but it was also no tenable connection. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, it's actually, I just read it again last night when I was going through there. It can have already taken place.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
All right. Yeah, it was multiple reasons, but one of the reasons that were in the notes was that it had already taken place.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can look it up as we're talking, but I did see that last night, that that's in the MCC. It can have already taken place, which then goes to the, this will happen with or without funding.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
almost a
Mhm.
weird benefit.
Yeah,
So I don't know,
Okay.
should we start at 1?
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Which
Yeah,
was
let's
the high
do
A
that.
question, and I'm trying to remember, the last couple of times I've been involved with this. Do we go through, when we go through number, do we go through and just say, yes, we want to fund, and then come back to it and figure out how much?
In-
Or,
I wasn't at last year's meeting, but though I gave Caroline my suggestions, the way we've done it in
Yeah.
the past is we each say how much we suggested, and they're
okay, because
generally
I
like,
did not, yeah, I did not suggest, because I thought we would be able to fund all the small ones. So, okay, because
So-
I may not be suggesting an amount. I might just be saying yes to this one, or I have questions.
that's fine too. We also always had Andy who kept a spreadsheet going like that as
Yeah,
I
the
know.
amounts
Yeah,
went
I'm
in,
doing
and then
that
we'd
now.
go over and we'd have to go back through and say, oh, let's take 100 out of this one until we.
Okay, so Diana, you're doing that?
And we
Mhm.
Right.
and then when I went through, my method was to pick all the ones that were under $600 that we would fund and just say yes, like I would fund that
Yeah.
full thing in order to give say again fully funded.
Yeah,
And they were for the most part all ones that we have a long-standing relationship with.
exactly.
Okay.
That's where I was. And this is one
Yeah.
of those, but it's more than 1,000. Yeah, anyway.
But I also saw like last year that they had looked a little different, that you had partially funded almost all of them instead of.
Yeah.
We
We did
basically gave
50% for
50%
all of
to
them.
everybody.
Yep. That was the way we approached it last year. Even some of the smaller ones, like the Albion Cultural Exchange.
Yeah,
So just for example, Kathleen, for number 1 and number 2, they requested $1,000 and I suggested 500. But then the next number 2, they requested 300 and I said 300, and then was like, check, that's a fully funded one.
yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do people have strong feelings one way or the other about everybody should get a blanket percentage, or we should kind of discuss the budget and merits of each one as we go through?
I think
don't
the
have
small
strong
ones should
feelings.
be funded. Like anything 500 and below should be fully funded. Is my feeling on that. And then what we do with the other ones is a discussion item.
I agree with that.
What were you saying, Diana?
I'm open to discussion.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to run
Um,
through, can I, just for a second, I am looking at my own spreadsheet. And I have a couple that I have questions for that are low money. So I'm not sure of how you want to do that. For example, and I don't have the number on my spreadsheet. I'd have to count through, but for example, Fantastical Felt Paintings, Susan Smith, number 43984.
That's
Number
number 21 in the
Yeah.
panel book. If that
Okay.
helps.
I was not sure if the library had agreed to the
Keith has done it
venue.
there in the
Yeah.
past. It was well
Okay,
attended.
because I didn't remember that one.
Um,
Okay.
Let's go through ones where there's questions as we get
yeah.
to. Let's just start at the top and go through and answer any questions. Does that sound
That's a
good to
good
everybody?
idea.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Fine with me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right, starting at the top, number 1, Broken Leg Productions, Inc. Did anybody have any questions or thoughts on that this should not get some level of funding?
They should get some. Yeah.
Some level.
yep,
I
Yep,
suggested 500 because that worked with my numbers. I was impressed that they kept things going during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What gives me slight pause is that how expensive it is for the program to take place. And I absolutely think everybody involved should be paid for their time and labor, but that was why it wasn't higher in my book.
500 seems reasonable to me. That sounds good for a starting place.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. All right. So next one, number 2. Do I have it right?
The Discovery Museum.
Yep,
Yeah.
open door.
Yep. So my thought on this one was the tenable connection to Wakefield. I know we have funded this in the past. I don't think we funded it last year, but I can't remember exactly.
I have that
Um,
spreadsheet up. Hold on.
150. We gave them 150 last year.
We gave them 150.
We have done it last year. Something the Discovery Museum does is they have specific programs for autism spectrum disorder children. And
Mhm.
from this is anecdotal, but I have heard that many of the children and families from Wakefield that have that experience in their families have attended those events there,
Mhm.
because they're one of the few museums around that offer that for children especially.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's tenable, but that's also anecdotal. And my kids are getting older, so
What are people's thoughts on this one?
my thought was 300 because it's low and there's a history
too.
of it.
Yep,
Mine too.
mine too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Number 3, Johnny K comes to the Dolbear. Right down the street from me. So certainly local connection. I didn't see any issues with this one. Anybody have thoughts or questions about whether it should receive funding?
I mean, it's supported by the PTO, and that was something that that made it a more of a yes for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had put 800 down for this. It was nice to see applications from all the schools in Wakefield. That has not,
Yeah.
I see the Doyle, but that has not been the case in the past. So some schools have gotten a lot of funding for their program just by the nature of who requested
Hmm.
funding.
Yeah.
And
I
believe
haven't seen
they
anything
only-
from the Woodville.
there's
Yeah.
the North Shore children's, the Tom Knight's musical puppet, which happens at the Civic Center, but
Oh,
there was
okay.
nothing happening at the Woodville, but that was the only one with a
Oh,
connection
okay,
to the Woodville.
fine.
And they usually are one of the school that doesn't request as much funding. for
Okay.
it. But yeah, I had 800 because of my numbers again. That's open to debate.
Let's put it in and then we'll see how we do.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
And then a no
So
for
4 was a
Drake.
no-go.
a number of us had no for the Drake. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep, agreed.
Agreed.
Any objections?
Nope.
All right. Okay. Greater Boston Stage Company, again, we funded this in the past. I think we did
Right.
50% last year. I don't recall the year before. Certainly local, not in Wakefield, but pretty close organization, and they do give the discounted tickets to students and seniors. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a long, all 4 years that I've been here, they've applied and we've given
Yeah.
support. And the first year I was on, there was a local theater, Rob McRobbie was on there, and I believe he said that they were used, but well used, I don't know, but we've always funded them.
Well, and the idea that it's seniors and
And students,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what does it for me with that one.
And so much opportunity to use it as well.
Yes.
Super
Yes.
important.
Yeah,
Yep.
Love
I
this
had
one.
1,000 down on this one.
Mhm.
I'd go for that.
Mhm.
That's fine with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
great. Next one from the local school, Greenwood School.
Yeah.
Um,
The
Back and
garbage is my
forth.
bag.
yeah,
Yeah,
I have when I read this, I just want to say something, and I'm an old person, but in the last 5 years, maybe, I worked for a pharmaceutical company, Merck, and I went to a waste informational session by my company. It kind of, the bent was, big campuses and pharmaceutical and the stuff that we waste and just people, employees in general, no matter what the industry is. I was so edified, and I was like 50 something years old at the time, and I'm like, I never knew this about waste, and it really changed. It's literally changed the way so what I'm saying is, and I know it's not really arts council, but if we can get kids to learn about waste and even just to think about it when they're little, it's invaluable, my opinion.
Totally agree.
I had
no,
this
I
one
think
fully funded.
it-
Me too.
it's an absolutely essential
Yeah.
issue, and it's being treated with an artistic bent, which means it's going to be more accessible to them, and it's supported by the PTO.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'd say fully fund.
I have fully
Yeah.
Yeah.
funded for this one.
I agree.
Yeah. Because this is one of those things that our lives, our children's lives, and our grandchildren's lives
Are
depend
going to
on.
be critically impacted. Yep.
Yes.
We also only funded the Greenwood last year, not only, but funded them 865, and they only asked for 700 this year for their program.
Okay.
All right, great. Fund that one as of right
Done
now.
with the Beatles, cross him out.
The Beatles.
Nope.
Until there's some response
Real.
to our suggestions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a real proposal.
Yeah.
All right, great. Next one is let's see,
Break
Break
Heart.
Heart Fall
Break Heart.
Festival. Yeah, I liked the sounds of this one a lot. They're
It's
asking
more
for
naturey though than artsy, isn't it?
thanks. Well, there were
There were crafts and
yeah.
Yeah,
I think I thought it was great, and I've been to a few of the events there, and I have to say Wakefield's showing is the smaller of of the two towns where Breakheart sits. So I would love it if we became,
More
more
involved.
tied to it's listed as folks and traditional arts as a project discipline,
Mhm.
not nature. So I had 1,000 for this.
Yeah.
I mean, what
There
I
was a-
like, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say there is a mix of things. So it says professional storyteller, reptile demonstration, petting zoo, naturalist, owls, live music. So it's certainly a mix and not just straight.
No.
And ironically, John Porcino, the storyteller who's part of this program,
Yeah.
is the one who gave no venue for his own
Exactly.
personal proposal.
yeah, it's
I know when I
interesting.
was-
Yes.
Yeah, when I did my, when I was going through the original spreadsheet that they gave us, and I did a search, and I see his name,
Yeah.
and I see it in this one that it doesn't have a venue. And I thought, wait a minute, I thought I saw his name involved with something that I really
Right.
liked. I had to go back. But I like this. It's longstanding. It serves, it's really broad appeal, and the planning, it looks meticulous.
Right.
And that's, I mean, one of the things that perhaps some of these aspirational projects may have, they're not very well planned, and the planning of this seems really, really clear. So we're going to get, to use a crass expression, bangs for the buck.
I also think that just by the nature of the people who apply for our funding, it's very heavy for children or seniors, and we don't have as many options to serve a much broader audience, which is
Yeah.
part of our priority.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, so this is a yes, and
Do we feel like we
I wanted to fund them
do
more, but it ended up kind of
Yeah.
getting pared down in my calculation.
Mm.
maybe like 750 or 1,000?
I have
1,000.
1,000, yeah.
Okay. Do 50%.
Did we say
Um,
1,000?
Yeah.
For now,
Yeah.
yeah.
For now.
Henry the juggler has gone away, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Henry
But
is
I-
out.
Do we want to advise to give us a venue and a date? Because my comment on that was there was no venue, no date.
I think
And
with our
maybe
rejection
this is
letters,
someone,
Mhm.
yeah,
they can't be too specific. They are kind of form letter, but if we
Okay.
really stress that we are looking to fund programs with with a set venue, please put the work in ahead of time. And it
yeah,
does, a suggested date in these times, it's
Yeah.
hard to have a solid date, but
right, right, yeah.
these are, in my opinion, a little bit lazy applications, like waiting
Yeah.
for somebody else.
Is he the one of them asked us to find the venues for them? I can't remember which one, but in any case, yeah,
Okay,
Location of your council's choosing.
yeah.
yeah.
And that may be, I was unaware of the fact that other towns actually do find, yeah. So I'm not gonna be as snarky. Okay.
Okay. All right, next
Copy of.
one, bringing the joy.
Yeah,
So this is Linden Tree.
Yep.
So for a
Uh,
long time, for a little bit of history, for a long time, and before my time, there weren't as nearly as many applications. And a lot of the applications were from the Historical Society, of which we have none this year,
Mhm.
and the Linden Tree Coffee House. So the bulk of the funding year after year after year went to those two groups, for better or for worse. And the year I came on, we broke from that. We didn't fund Linden Tree for the first time in many years. And then we just funded like one or two projects with the Historical Society, and they have like slowly stopped asking for as much over time. But Linden Tree does happen every year. It applies every year. It bothers me that this is on religious property. I know that the Mass Cultural Council has religious organizations or groups with a religious affiliation are eligible to apply for funding for cultural programming that is available to the general public. LCCs can only approve applications that are primarily cultural in their intent and do not have the effect of advancing religion. But to me, attracting a whole bunch of people to your location is affecting an advancement of a religion. No one has ever agreed with me on that, but I will say that I don't think public money should go to fund things out on religious sites. Linden Tree during the pandemic moved all of their performances to the commons and the bands, and
Yeah.
that was great. And they do have this long history. It is a cultural event. It's beloved. It brings people into Wakefield. It has a broader audience than just Wakefield. But I have a problem with the site, and they pay the venue for their site too. So that's my 2 cents. I vote no on this one.
Huh,
But it was funded $750 last year. So.
Yeah, 50% last year.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to pay to go to it as well.
Yeah. I've always sort of considered UU in a separate category from other religious institutions. And that may be simply my take on religions, but because they do not, they're more of a social justice organization, I would be less inclined to I won't say reject, but to question having something there. Linden Tree itself has been for a very long time a really valuable community resource. So I would probably still be inclined to fund them, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't, go to the barricades for it if we were concerned about it. do we want to put it on hold until we see what we've got for others?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm ambivalent about it.
we can table it.
Mhm.
I think that's a good. Okay, we'll come back to Linden Tree.
Mhm.
Okay, next one, the library itself, not just the library as a venue.
Yeah,
Yep, art in the library, they're asking for $1,000. No specific time, but you know, they sure have a venue secured, so I would be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on that one.
This
Anybody
wasn't a
have?
single event, though. It wasn't. It
Right.
was,
Oh, it wasn't?
you know,
Yeah.
no, it's
funding.
going to be art in
It's
the
their
library, yeah.
100th anniversary. That was an ongoing long. I put
Right.
800 on this one. They didn't ask for anything else. They always ask for Plaza Jazz, and that they didn't this year.
Yeah,
If I could fully fund this, I would, but I couldn't make the numbers work, so I had put 800. We gave them
Yeah.
250 last year on
Yeah.
their request.
I mean, the library, this library does so much for the community,
Right.
Yeah.
for everyone in the community. That if,
I would-
you know, if it turns out we could fully fund it, I would, but definitely it's a yes.
Yes, I agree. I would fully fund it or fund it at 750 or 800, depending
Yeah.
on how our
Yeah.
money is.
Yeah. And as someone who has had to deal with the library for other events and that, they're just really, really good with their planning and with their execution of things.
They are,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
their-
it's
their
important. It's
staff.
100th anniversary. Yeah,
And it's their staff doing all this work, so it's
exactly. Yeah.
So what I might recommend is that we put in full funding now, and then if we have to go back,
Yeah.
Okay,
okay.
fine
Let's
with
do
me.
it.
I like that. Excellent suggestion, Diana. Thank you. Okay, next project.
Cranky,
This
we
is
had
the
said.
Cranky. So did we decide that this one is fully out or not?
Yep. I thought so.
Okay.
according
I
to my
thought
notes.
so, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about it more.
Yeah, I had a maybe on it simply because the venue really it's problematic when you don't have a venue.
Yeah, it really bothered me that the question about what will you do if you don't get funding, that her response was,
yeah.
I'll charge the library.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually did. Yeah, I had the same thing. That was my thing too.
Yeah,
She had me all the way up until then.
yeah,
Because again, it's not doing the work ahead of time to secure a
Yeah.
venue. It's not that the program wouldn't be beneficial, but I don't know. This to me again is one that in the declining letter say, please do this ahead of time, and we might have a different decision.
Yeah. Anybody feel strongly about keeping it in?
not me.
Okay, all right. We will pass on Cranky. All right, next one, Shapes of Music.
This one has a long
Yeah.
history as well of funding and high attendance. They've been good partners to the Wakefield community.
Yeah.
They were funded 500 last year. I had them as 900 on this.
Yeah,
I had
Yeah.
reservations and I'm trying to remember exactly why.
It's usually at the Civic Center. Is that what they
Yeah.
proposed this year?
Yep. Said if they don't receive full funding, it will incur larger deficit than planned. If the deficit cannot be covered by increasing donations, we may need to cancel the concert. So I think that was my source of reservations. It seems a little bit shaky about if we don't fund it and fund it well, that it may not happen. So
I also think that this is one of the things that has come, this was the kind of that thing I suggested in the beginning that we talk about. They've come to depend on the funding of this council because it's so long-standing.
Yeah.
They are well established. It's something the community expects every year. And those aren't bad things, but those are discussions that we should have, maybe not today, but in general, as to, do we want to still foster establishing longstanding connections? I know
One
they
thing-
suffered, they really suffered during the pandemic, this group as well.
One thing I didn't put in my notes was whether or not they were asking for funding from other councils. Does anybody have that? I've only got one screen here, so I've already got two things on this screen
Right.
that I'm looking at. If somebody can access it, because that might help us if it looks like they're applying to other
It
places. as
says
well.
none.
Okay. Okay, so the question still remains, yeah. Do we want to put that aside for the moment again? Do we want to table that one and come back to it? I mean, I had a yes, but it was largely because, you know, they've got the track record.
I
Yeah,
had a yes at 50%.
mhm.
Membership dues from the volunteer musicians and donations from the community and from attendees at the concert are other projected income.
Yeah,
We will incur a larger deficit than planned if we don't receive full funding. And if it cannot be covered by increased donations, we may need to cancel the concert.
mm,
They do
That may
they do
also
ask all the
be-
musicians to play for free.
yeah.
I don't know, it's a good thing they do, but it doesn't, it sounds like artists whose
shaky.
strength is not
Yeah.
finances, maybe organizing the thing, which I definitely suffer from.
But
Real.
if that issue is a result of, you know, what happened because of lockdown,
Right.
it could be situational rather than a chronic
It's true.
That's true, that's true.
thing.
I don't know.
So
I the long-standing relationship counted a lot for me, but that
Yeah.
might not be the case for everyone.
Mhm. I had a yes too, so.
Yeah,
Should we say 50% for now and you mark
Yeah.
it a bit
I
until
Yeah.
like that.
more?
Right.
Okay. Okay. So the next one, I know there's a bit of history here. The Always Remember Showcase for the World Premiere.
mm,
I know the first year that, well, so I remember 2 years ago funded some or partially. Last year we did not, but they do. I don't know if you remember, Sarah, but if they apply every year.
So
Um,
part of the group does, the duos piano has applied a few times, and I have to say they've gone above and beyond to participate with anything we've ever offered or asked for. They've come to our meetings. We asked for grant winners to come for public forums in order to tell people, and actually the Middlesex band director did come to that to tell what the process was like, volunteered his time, and the two pianists came to a Zoom version of that for the duos piano. I don't know, we didn't have that many requests for Zooms, and
yeah,
it does reach
Yeah.
some people that aren't mobile or don't get up and go out. It brings it to them.
yeah,
So I don't know, I had partial funding for this because they are so involved when they had the opportunity to be involved with Wakefield and did volunteer their time to deal with the public on our behalf.
and that counts for a lot, I think.
I agree.
I agree. I mean, I didn't know the history, but I thought they should be funded at least 600.
Mhm.
I know nothing of the history, so that was just a shot in the dark.
Yeah,
I had 800, but 600 is fine with me. If
And we could put the 800 and see where it goes at the end. It's fine. That's even better.
but part of it too was the Zoom, just for variety, since we didn't have many requests for those.
Right.
yeah,
And I know some of my neighbors that really do participate with the WCAT stuff and things that otherwise they wouldn't be able to.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a little bit more hesitant to fund because of that. I think if it were happening in person and also live streamed, I think that would be a clear yes for me, because it was only live streamed or recorded and then on public access, less so for me. But
Yeah, that was actually my question. I had that as a maybe, simply because it was strictly virtual and I just wasn't sure. So I could be persuaded. I am more persuaded now that I'm reminded of how they participated in public fora.
We've invited any award winners for different reasons over time, and the only two that stand out in my mind now of ever coming
band
were,
and them.
were the Middlesex band director and the couple,
Okay.
the duo's piano
Yeah.
couple.
I'm persuaded.
I'm persuaded, fine.
I'd feel better about 50%. It looks like the show will be recorded in
Yeah.
Miami and then just sort of distributed
450
You-
or that, or 400?
50%.
No, I know, but they
rather
asked for
than-
850.
okay.
So
Okay, yeah.
425.
That would be 425.
Okay.
All right, next one. Okay, this was the hip hop chair dance for seniors, asking for 500. People have thoughts about this one?
I mean, I was initially
Chair
concerned, but
dancing.
am not now that I learned the history. I'd say fund both of those, fully fund them, both of what they're asking.
Yeah.
So that 500 and then the 580 for the I am autistic. I am fantastic.
Yeah,
would say.
she's applied every year that I've been doing this.
Mhm.
I also saw for this, like the references, I've never seen her list of references before. And
Yeah.
number 2, Rob Emlin, I met him at Historic Deerfield, and he's like a super impressive guy. I don't know why
Yes.
he's one of her
Yeah.
references, and just the nicest guy ever. So I don't know, that really stood out to me as being an odd, I don't know, like, again, she's applied every year, and I've heard that the hip hop chair, the other one, the I am autistic fantastic, is new to me, but
Yeah, I think if just as factual information, I believe what we did last year is we only funded one of them.
Yeah.
I think we only funded hip hop
Yeah.
Oh,
because there were 2 applications last year too.
this one
Yeah,
is
there were
also
a
at the senior center, right?
Yeah.
The I am autistic, I am fantastic.
no, I think that's only at the other, on the, I
Um,
think Dutton Family Center. I don't think the
Oh,
I am autistic, I don't know.
Yep, yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
There were a few instances last year where people had submitted 2 projects. I think there was maybe that happened twice, and we decided to fund one of them.
I would fund both because
So-
one's at the
yeah.
senior center and one's at Dutton, and they're different. They're both confirmed places. They both give references
Yeah.
for the people and their different audiences, and we don't have as many programs
Right.
here that are geared specifically towards seniors with a long track record.
Yeah.
I'm all
And I
for-
would say the same for autism.
Yeah.
yes,
Awareness just has to become, we have to become more aware.
right.
And I would argue to the point, as a senior who's not yet in need of chair dancing, I would even say if we were going to do one, I would do the autistic, but I'd like to see us do.
I'd like to
both.
see us do both.
I'd,
Yeah.
I'd like to see them both fully
Okay.
funded.
Yeah. And actually, I
Sounds good.
have, with Room to Write, I've been doing workshops and writers gatherings at the senior center, and attendance at those things is really good. So you know that, again, you know that this is something people are going to participate in.
All right, so fully fund the hip hop chair dancing and the I Am Autistic, I Am
Yeah.
Fantastic programs. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Do those. All right, next one, Tom Knight's musical puppet show at the Civic Center, asking for 400.
Again, the
Thoughts on this one?
commitment's there from the rec department. I always
Yes.
like that.
Yep.
I would fund it.
I had it for
Yeah.
full funding.
Fully funded.
Last year,
Yeah.
this group, we gave 188 to, and there's a
Mhm.
very large, robust group with lots of programming. They don't
Yeah.
ask for much, so I had fully
Yeah.
funding on this.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so John Portino.
Yeah, he's
we
the one who
said-
asked us to put him in
Thumbs
touch with the venue, so
down.
I'd say no. Yeah.
I really, I don't know, maybe I've never done the declining letters. Maybe I can do them this year and touch base with the MCC and ask, like, how do we impress upon these people whose programs we like that they really need to
Yeah.
meet a few not too difficult requirements in order to
Yeah.
be considered.
Yeah.
Because clearly we like his program, we're funding it somewhere else, but
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Okay, next one, the web hosting, excuse me, for Wakefield, Art Collaborative of Wakefield, asking for 155.
I would give it to her. It's such a
That's
small
a yes.
amount. It's a good
55 and not
service.
150.
Yeah.
it's 155. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's applied every year for this that I've been on here, and I know that this covers the fees that group is actually charged for the web hosting, and Joy does all the work on her own volunteering.
Okay.
I am a part of that group, so I don't know whether I can officially vote on this or not, but full disclosure.
Yeah. I don't think you need to, because I
Right.
mean, I just have that as a big yes.
Yes, I have as it a yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. All right. All right. Next one, Afternoon of Brass. Did we decide no on this one?
Yeah, I mean, they're hoping that Wakefield residents might come.
Yeah,
And
I think it's a
that
stretch.
just isn't enough of a,
Right.
Oh,
I
me
was so annoyed by this one. And all of the attachment, it just got me more and more annoyed. The more attachments, it just annoyed me. Nope, I
Yeah.
don't want to fund him. You know, it just,
Yeah.
play by the rules, guy, not, 20 pages of attachments.
yeah,
More is not necessarily
right.
less.
Diana, do you have like a running total?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
We got
Where are we?
6,140 left.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay,
okay,
We have some big requests coming up too, though.
Yep.
yeah.
I know. So we'll
Thank
see
you,
how it goes.
Okay. Fantastic felt paintings. This one has been mentioned a couple times, asking for 500. Also at the library.
But I questioned, I couldn't figure out whether the library has actually agreed on that or not. And I don't know about how much that should affect our, our decision, because I know in asking, in having been part of a group asking for space in the library for things, that space fills up very quickly and their programs fill up very quickly. So I wasn't sure. Did it seem any clearer to anyone else that?
I guess I thought it said supplemental income coming in 250 from the BB Memorial Library.
Yeah.
Made me
But
think
Yeah.
that they had already
okay,
and then it says under committed partners, it says Jacqueline Powers, Assistant Director
Yeah.
of BB Library.
okay, I missed that then. I didn't read that closely enough.
Yeah,
And they've had
that's
it-
what I thought also, that it was
They've had
coming.
this program before.
Okay,
Mhm.
then forget what I said. I didn't read that closely enough.
I had this one as full funding too, because I
Yep.
know that it was successful. I've heard it was successful. I don't know, but I've heard.
Okay,
500?
Yep.
Okay. All right, next one.
22, we said no to the Zoom thing, right?
Yep, to
Yeah.
the Wakefield Do Your Art. We said no to that earlier.
Yeah, I'm really, yeah, we said no to this. I like the ideas of this, but again, I feel like it was being packaged as being Wakefield specific, but wasn't really.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I just don't know how, if we actually funded this and it took place, how they would actually reach the members of the public that use Zoom. And they didn't answer those questions for me. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, agreed. All right, great. Next one, Ezekiel's Wheels and the Secret Sauce. $700 happening at Temple Emmanuel.
I'm a no again for the same reasons. Although I can also give the context that there has been some sort of theater production or music production there every year requested, and we have funded, I think, all of them, but my vote has always been no for the same reasons, and they charge admission, and their backup plan would be to be charged slightly more and charge for refreshments.
Right.
Actually,
and-
I said no as well.
I said no as well. I was kind of bothered by the introduction of community members have wanted to see our facility. Here's a good opportunity. Weren't they the ones that sort of said that? For people
Yeah.
to come in and see the temple. That bothered me on some level, you know? So, and if they
I
can,
don't think that that's, I mean, I'm not going to say that's not a reason to say no, because
No,
your
but
opinion is
they
valid,
can
but I think that's
also-
totally separate from having an event. Like you could
Mhm.
apply for,
right,
support to recognize the architecture and the religious institution that you have in
Yeah.
this town. But that's not necessarily tied to having a
right.
play or a musical event there.
But the fact that they can also up the ticket price just a little bit and charge for refreshments, there's nothing to charging for refreshments these days. I think that they would be fine.
I mean, I thought that the ticket price was quite high to begin with, so that's why, one of the
Oh.
reasons I was concerned about
Yeah.
it.
Mine was the price.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about this one. I have some similar reservations to Sarah, but it sounds like the general consensus is leaning towards no.
I will say, though, that I think that if we were to say no to this, and a good part of the rationale has to do with it's being in a religious site, then we would, I think we would probably have to say no to the linden tree as well.
Yeah, agreed, Kathleen.
It's a good point, Kathleen.
I mean, I understand that there is some difference here, but if, my concern with this one had to do, I had a maybe on this. My concern with this was the ticket price was already quite high, and if they were going to charge this much, even with our funding, I don't know,
Yeah.
I was just concerned about it. Anyway, let's keep that in mind.
How
Yeah.
much were the ticket costs for Linden Tree? And does that come into it if that's the rationale
It
and
was,
not the religious venue?
I remember it being 10 for,
Was it
You-
20 and 10, I thought,
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
didn't look
so.
at it.
A
Yeah,
linden tree?
yeah.
Yeah.
20 for adults, 10 for what, students, seniors, or something like that.
yeah.
I'm just pulling this out of my head. I'm not going back
Yeah,
and looking
and
at
they
it.
said-
No, I do
Yeah.
believe you're right.
And then they were saying if they had to raise additional funds, they would raise their ticket prices from 20 to 25.
It's not,
Okay. Is that Linden or this one?
This
Or
is Linden.
Yeah.
Linden?
So that's
Okay.
the same price as-
Okay,
as this one, is it?
then, yeah.
22, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's 20 for adults, and then I think 10 for under 13 at Linden.
Yeah.
which one for Linden?
Linden.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And then for this one, it's what, 25 or
Same.
20?
Literally the same.
I mean, these days, that is not, unfortunately, that much money. I mean, it is, there are people that can't, I mean, for me, what is the difference? I'm on a fixed income anyway, between $20 or $25, not a deal breaker for me. Now, so, you know what I'm saying? That's a small amount. It's not like it would jump from $20 to $40 or something like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like we should maybe mark this one as maybe and then
Yeah.
come back to it.
Yeah, I'll just leave it blank and we'll come back.
All
Yeah,
right. Okay, next one is Lizzie Borden and the 40 Wax. Asking for
This theater group
625.
applies every year, has a different play every year.
That one sounds like fun. I'm
and
even
it's well
tempted to
attended.
go.
Yeah.
Was that one?
but
open to the public?
my comment on it was, it's solid. I know they're, you know, they've got a good track record, but this is
Right.
really distasteful.
Just the subject matter, Kathleen?
Well, yeah, looking at something like that, you know, but I still,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
can
that's
see
just
that.
my own squeamishness.
They do a different play every year.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
head woman, I believe, lives in Melrose, but she's from Wakefield.
Yeah.
and I think they are well.
I would say
They are, and it's just my squeamishness. So I probably won't go.
I had this one as full funding.
I would fully
Okay.
It's
fund it.
well organized, all the things we said. that-
Yeah, they really are. It's a solid
Touches-
production.
Yeah, it touches on several of our priorities.
Agreed.
Okay.
Any objections?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Great. Moving along. Next one is the Wakefield High School Theater Arts, asking for 2,500, one of the largest requests. I know we get requests each year pretty much,
Yeah.
and have funded. I think last year we funded at 50%.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we gave him 1250 last year.
Yeah,
We gave them quite a bit more before that because we had during the pandemic, they
right, there
still
was,
going, but we had so much fewer requests. We
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
able to give larger grants before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, right now we're just a little over 5,000 left, with no admin costs, by the way. We kind of determined what our admin costs were going to be. We had 350 last year. We just
350
kind of
was last
decided
year,
that
yeah.
at the end last year. So I don't know if I should be putting that in now or.
I had 1,500 just because
For them,
we had funded them. I'd have to go back and look at my paper notes, but I think we funded them like 2,200 or 2,000 before, and then 1,250 last year. So
I'd be
Yeah.
down with 1,500.
I would be fine with 15.
yeah,
and this was the only Wakefield High specific. I know the Broken Leg productions happened at the high school, but wasn't
Right.
necessarily
High
high
school.
school
wasn't the
students.
high
And
school,
this was
right.
the only high school student aged
yeah.
demographic program.
Mhm.
1,500 for that one. Okay, celebrations of the diversity and inclusion. This one is from the
Ira, can I suggest that we do the two after that and then come back to this, just because they're small and quicker
Yep.
and smaller
Sure.
asks?
I'm fine with that. All right, so this one, 100 Warrior Faces Part 2 at the Galvin, requesting 350.
So we funded part one
Yeah.
2 years ago, or maybe even
Mhm.
3. I think it was 2 years ago because Andy was still with us because he's a photographer and we talked quite a bit about this. If it's part 2 and we funded part of it,
Yeah,
I say yes to
Yeah.
this one.
I like the intent of it. You know, to show
Yeah.
middle school students that high school students are not vaping and not doing drugs. I really like the intent.
yeah,
So I would say yes, fully funded. It's only 350.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine.
It's the only Galvin program too.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, next one, Li Liu, Traditions of Chinese Acrobatics.
That's expensive.
At the Walton, asking for $995.
So we gave the Walton $808 last year. We've given the other schools respectively, 700 to the Greenwood, 800 to the Dole Bear. Nothing directly to the Woodville because they didn't ask for it. 1,500 to the high school and 350 to the Galvin.
I would do 750 at this. This seems, the 995 is really high. It
And
seems 750 splits between 700 and 800 to the two other elementaries.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Full disclosure, my daughter goes to the Walton, so I should have taken this one.
750 is fine with me.
Yep, me too.
I think they said they would raise any lacking funds.
Right.
Well, when you have the PTO sponsored, you know that there's the possibility of their being able to
Right.
to pick up some difference. Yeah,
They'll sell brownies and cupcakes and stuff like that
Yeah.
at the performance.
yeah.
They can or something.
Okay.
We're not doing 100 years of Boston comedy, right?
And
Right.
We
said
said
to
no on
that
this one.
All right.
Okay. All right. So going back to
Human
Human
rights.
Rights Commission.
yep.
Well, we can't fully fund them on what we have right now.
How much do we
Yeah.
have left?
We
Diana?
have $2,415 and we have not included, we have zero for admin costs right now. So I feel
Yep.
like we should probably figure out our admin costs before we do anything.
But does
Last year we
that
had
take
350.
does that take into account, Diane, that we would fund Ezekiel's Wheels and the Linden Tree? That's
No,
those
I left them
numbers?
blank because we were tabling them.
So we have two maybes, the Human Rights Commission and our admin fees to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
Hmm.
Yep.
what did we hold back for admin costs last year?
350.
What do we do with admin? Why are we? what
Our
is this?
reception.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We have a reception?
We
think
talked about things like the tabling at the a few of the community events
The
Okay.
banner.
and getting a banner and things like that. So
Sure,
potentially printing handouts and such.
I'd put in
So-
350.
Do we want to do
the-
350 again, or do we need more for the banner since we?
Well, that's it. Did we spend the whole 350 or did we go over on that?
I didn't.
I
put
think
it
our
on
only-
sheet or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, our only expenses were the reception.
The reception, yeah.
So it could potentially be, I mean, assuming that we go with the same venue, it was offered to us for free last year. So
Yeah,
that's a bit of a wild card. I don't have the relationship with the Albion Cultural Council the Albion Cultural Exchange that Carolyn does. So that's a bit of a wild card. But again, we would have to pay for food, so we might spend the money a little bit differently since we had so much left over last time.
Yeah, I mean, the admin costs were kind of determined before I became treasurer, so I don't actually know any of
okay.
the receipts.
Yeah. Do you remember, Lori? Because you worked with a caterer last year. Do you remember how much the food ended up being?
It was like,
Roughly.
it was like, high twos, low threes, and
Yeah.
I never put, put in for it, so it'll be a donation from me to the council.
Oh,
And
nice.
whoa.
I
Very
agree,
generous.
we got
Thank you.
too much because I think people, as
Oh,
I remember, it was a warm
I brought
day.
home a couple of.
Yeah, we had too much food. for
We had
sure.
too much
way
food.
too much.
But you never know with people. She
Yeah.
kind of helped me. I forget her name, but she was lovely at Zuzu's.
Zuzu?
Yeah.
I said, how many people could come, and she sort of guided me. But I think as I recall, it was a warm evening, and people had probably already had their dinner, and so
And it
we
was
got too much food.
Still,
I mean,
the
we were
pandemic was
still,
much
I mean,
more of a
I was
factor.
still masking at that point, so I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah,
we could have more.
I'm all for keeping as much money in the pot for the cultural events as possible, rather than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
I
feel like We should
agree.
probably just keep it the same as last year, just at least for now, until we
Yes.
figure out the rest of it,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just so we don't forget about it entirely.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Okay, and then let's discuss the Human Rights Commission,
Okay.
because we
So
haven't,
how much do
we
we have
haven't at
left,
least-
Diana?
2065.
So, all right, so celebrations of diversity and inclusion, it sounds like this fund would potentially be funding for 3 separate events happening at locations in Wakefield and virtually, and they are asking for $3,000. What
I
are
had
people's thoughts
1,500.
on that?
I had 1,500 on this. They are not, I believe, I'm looking for it. I believe they said they're not allowed to fundraise.
Yeah.
I can't.
And so I was trying to fund them as much as possible. They do really good work. It's Wakefield specific. It's a different ways of diversity that we have not covered with the other projects. But, you know, part of
Yeah.
that is just by the nature of who's asked for them. But this
Yeah.
is really important events that they do that include people that aren't included in some
Right.
of the other things. But when for my numbers going through here, 1,500 was all I could get out of
Yeah.
it. So
I mean,
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say my reservations, I agree with everything that you said, Sarah. My reservation is it's pretty ambiguous what it actually is funding, and connection to Wakefield is strong, but connection to arts is pretty
well, we
loose.
also fund humanities. It's not just arts.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I would fund it 1,500. That was comfortable. to me.
Yeah, and with regard to the ambiguity, that is largely because the 3 events that they sponsor, they try to take into account current situations, both local and national, international, so it can vary. They also do try very hard to vary the speakers and the performances year to year so that people will continue to keep coming back. I don't think it would be impossible to get more specific because they each of these events is planned for a particular year. But the Human Rights Commission has really done a stellar job in the past, well, since I've been going to their events for 5 years anyway. They adapted very well when they had to go virtual. Yeah, I would definitely want to at least fund them 50%.
And they're also a town affiliated group. I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's that it's doing
Yeah.
very unique work in this town.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very necessary in this town.
All right. I'm happy to do 50%.
50%. Okay, what's left?
$565.
And we have the 2 maybes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mhm.
$565 left.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless we want to start making adjustments somewhere.
Yeah. Whoa, because Linden Tree is asking for 1,500. So even if
Yep.
we did half with them, it would be 750. And Ezekiel is asking for 700. So that would be what,
About 350, but that's
375.
still more than we have.
that'd be about $1,100.
My vote would be no, and to give the remainder to the Human Rights Commission.
What did you say, Sarah? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I said my vote would be no on both of those, as you know, but to
Yeah.
give the remainder to the Human Rights Commission, since they are only funded at 50%.
I could go along with that. I could give no to both of those.
In saying no to those, what would I'm trying to think, I don't know if I've ever I don't think I've ever written the rejection letters.
I
we
have not
give-
either, and
I've only
the
done
reason
acceptance.
you did it, Diana?
No, I've only done acceptance.
I've only done acceptance, and what I'm wondering is, what do we put? And I can't remember, I've probably seen it in one of the videos that,
I believe it's almost like a form letter. That's why I was saying,
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
to particularly address the ones, like the Beatles project where
Yeah.
we would like the project, but we want more because I know we weren't allowed to do that level of specificity before.
yeah.
Isn't there, I mean, I don't know where I'm pulling this from, but isn't there a process where they can request why they're
They
They
can,
can request an appeal.
yeah.
Right.
yeah,
That's the 15-day waiting period is for them to be able to, right?
yeah.
And then what, in the appeal, do they come before us? What do they do, or is it a?
Right,
No one has ever done an appeal in the 4 years
Yeah.
I've been here, so I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I've heard that's never been done, but it's I mean those it's in place.
and I think it's a written appeal,
Oh,
because we've
okay.
talked about this before.
I don't know.
Ah,
I'm sure that how to do the declining is in the directions for local council members.
Yeah.
somewhere.
It doesn't,
Now-
I didn't see any copy of the letter, but said they would be sent out for us once we made our decision.
No, we send it out.
we send them,
Yeah, because I mean I had to do each individual
Oh, see,
Right.
I
did
just,
that.
acceptance, so I'm sure that the
because I did one of their webinars, I thought they sent out the decline, but I guess we do. I don't know.
no, I'm pretty sure we do, and I'm pretty sure we had, Diana, didn't we have a template that we just sort of had to fill in?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, but that was, I mean, I don't know if
But
it's,
that was for the acceptance.
yeah, I don't know if
Yeah, I
it's
believe
different for
so.
decline, so.
Now, see, I was in favor, I'm thinking out loud here, okay, and maybe it'll be helpful to others. Unless everybody is pretty sure that if everybody else is pretty sure that we say no to these two, I will, I'll just back off. I would still have been inclined definitely to fund Linden Tree somehow. Part of that is because it was because there's a long-standing not commitment to them, but contribution to them. Partly because I know that Linden Tree has been like a good thing for the community. The Ezekiel, I know nothing about.
Mhm.
It's an interesting production. It does fulfill, with the exception of its being in a religious site, it does fulfill the requirements. So otherwise, the two things that they share are ticket price and being in a religious venue.
Right.
hmm
And that doesn't, the things that make them different is that one, we have funded a lot in the
Right
past and
back.
it's in Wakefield and we know that it's, you know, that it's been a good contributor to Wakefield. The other one is new and could conceivably be just as interesting. So I don't know.
It's not new. The Ezekiel, like it's a different play every year. They have applied in the past and we have sometimes funded them, sometimes not. One year we didn't fund
Okay.
them because it was
See, I don't
something,
remember them. Did they apply last year?
I
Okay,
don't know if they applied last year,
okay.
but
I didn't
Before that-
remember them applying before.
the
Okay.
year before they applied for that play that was like called something's Underpants, or it was like and we didn't fund it. I know that. And I remember that,
Yeah.
like, you know, it was like a fun, playful title, but it had Underpants
Yeah.
in the title.
Okay, I don't remember that. I don't remember those at all anyway, and I probably should have gone back and looked at to see if previous, and I admit that I didn't. I just relied on my memory. I don't know if the consensus is that we don't fund these two. I'm not going to prolong the discussion.
Well,
I don't
if
feel
we go
strongly.
with the who else charges tickets prices, which would be quite a few. I mean, Greater Boston
Yeah.
Stage, of course.
Yeah.
Middlesex Concert charges
Yeah.
for their tickets.
Yeah.
Broken Leg charges for their performances. So it's not really about, we can't really say it's about, I mean, we could say we think your ticket's too expensive, but it's not about that you're
Yeah, and
charging for your
it's not
tickets.
really, yeah.
I'm looking at all the
And-
forms and they have templates for acceptance, but not for the declining.
Interesting.
But we did have this discussion in years past because it was very kind of loosey-goosey. There were no guidelines for a while
Yeah.
and we could put whatever we wanted in. And I do remember at least 2 years ago that there was some kind of guideline about how you couldn't be specific. You just had to say does not meet the council priorities
Yeah.
in some way.
I don't recall every detail, but Sarah, I think that with the Smart Simple platform, it was essentially that you had a drop down list of things that you could select
That's right.
with the
That was-
decline, and it was not. I don't remember.
Like incomplete
sort of the free
application
text.
does
Yeah,
not meet council priorities.
exactly. Yeah, I don't remember like a free text option where you can add in like a PS or anything.
But if
so.
that's the case, then why would we be declining because they do meet priorities?
Yeah, and there's nothing in our priorities or, you know, at the Mass Cultural Council level that takes issue with the venue as a religious institution.
Right.
That's absolutely right. And like my disclaimer was that I read that in a
Yes.
way that I recognize is not how everybody else reads it.
Yeah.
Also, but that said, we make these decisions not just for these two cases, but like say for the ones about whether they have a venue or not. Like it's not to the T
Right.
because we didn't require that. Like we can decide we're going to fully
Right.
fund 12 projects. Like a lot of these decisions are at our discretion, and then these discussions are how we come to those. So we need to decide on these for whatever reason we fund them or we don't fund them. And in the past, we actually voted like on each one. We would say, everybody okay with that? And then you would vote. And there was a record of that. So I don't know if you want to do these to feel comfortable in that sense with these two, because using religious venue can be touchy or not, but that is how we dealt with it in the past. So it was a vote rather than this is the reason we're saying no.
All right, sure.
And we could do that for everyone. We could go through and say, we've already decided these. Everybody okay with that decision? 1, yes.
Yeah.
2, yes. 3,
I
yes.
remember doing that once, yeah.
Yeah.
Diana,
Yes,
how much do we have left?
$565.
Okay,
And that is with what for admin 350.
350.
Okay, so if we said that we would fund these two at 50%, that would leave us with $560 that we would have to take from other grants.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, No, that's the 565 is our
565 is what's
surplus
left
currently.
available.
No, and if I
Oh, you did the
subtracted
calculation.
565 from 1125, which is what we would be paying those two. If we funded them at 50%,
Mhm.
it'd be 1125. And I subtracted 565. Did I do the math? And it came out to 560.
On my calculator. Hold on.
Okay.
And you there. $535
Okay.
that we'd have to siphon from
have
somewhere
to.
else.
Come up with 535. Were there any others that you didn't flag any of the tentatives, did you, Diana? Because there was some where we said absolutely we want to fund it for this much.
The only one where we were kind of waiting to see how it went was the art in the library. We said we might be willing to scale back a little bit, but everything else we were kind of pretty okay with.
Okay.
So
What about, well, and again, let me back off in here and say, if everybody else wants to say no to these two, this conversation is over. Because I'm not going to push it. So if everybody else is comfortable saying no to these two, then we don't have to go through this.
I'm not totally comfortable, Kathleen. So
Okay.
I'm thinking about it.
I'm on
If
the
that-
fence. My
You're
thing
on-
is, it's
okay,
like,
if that's
yeah,
the case, why don't we look at some of the really much larger grants and see if we could come up with $535 or fund these two at less than 50% and come up with less.
mhm.
What we might want to do is say, if we go through, like we start with Broken Leg, and that was 1,000, and I have not taken, I'm trusting that you're just
We're
gonna
at
say yes.
50% with that one. So what
That
was
the other
50.
way we could approach this is I can tell you which ones we funded 100%.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Okay, so 100%. Discovery Museum, Open Door Connections. Greenwood School, the garbage. I don't have the correct title here, but you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Can you do the money part at the same time when you say
Yes.
100%?
Okay, so Open Door Connections is 300.
Okay, that's not gonna be enough for us.
Yeah,
to-
exactly. These are good. Most of these are going to be small.
Yeah.
The garbage one is 700. Art in the
Okay.
library is 1,000 that we have at 100%. And the rest of these are quite small. I mean, the Tom Knight Puppet Show from North
Yeah.
Suburban, 400.
Yeah,
Arts Collab websites, 155. The Fantastical Felt Paintings at 500. The Lizzie Borden at 625. And then the Wakefield Youth Action Team 100 Warrior Faces at 350. Those are the ones that are 100%.
okay. So then in that case, if we could just go down through, so Broken Leg was 1,000 and we've done that at 50%.
Correct.
Okay, Johnny K comes to the Dole Bear, that was 1,000.
We gave them
800.
80%, 800.
Okay,
I think we could go down on that one, maybe.
okay,
Go
I'm
down
just
$100
gonna-
on that one.
all right, let's see. Drake, we said no.
Yep.
Discounted tickets, to Greater Boston stage?
We gave them 1,000 out of 1,500, that's 67%.
I'd leave that.
I did find a rejection letter, if anybody wants to hear it, that I received myself.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
okay.
Yikes.
Thank you for submitting a grant application to Wakefield Cultural Council. We regret to inform you that your proposal was not approved for this funding cycle. Our funds are limited and often we are not able to support the many worthwhile projects we receive.
Yeah.
Your application was carefully considered on its own merit and in comparison with others. Thank you again for your interest and for applying.
I think that's
long
perfectly
ago was
vanilla,
that?
and we can send that out to
It's from
anybody.
2016.
Okay.
That's very
Yeah, that's
vanilla.
what, yeah, that's what we want to do.
Yeah,
All right, Dole Bear. Greenwood, we could conceivably take a little bit from Breakheart. What did we go with Breakheart? Did we do that at 50%?
1,000.
Yeah,
So that was
okay.
50% of the two.
Yeah.
cost.
I do suggest if you're going to change the amounts on the elementary schools, that you at least make them equal.
Equal,
because
yeah.
Exactly,
There
yes.
is a, there is
Yeah,
competitive hierarchy
absolutely.
among
Yeah.
the schools.
No, that's why I said if we were gonna do
Right.
Dole Bear, we'd have to do Greenwood. Arts in the library, we did full,
We did full, yeah.
okay. Middlesex Concert Band, what did we do for that?
500.
500 for out of
Okay.
1,000, so 50%.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give
Morales?
haircuts to some to give to Linden Tree and
That's why
Well,
I'm
I
kind
don't
of,
know, that's a possibility.
that's kind of
what
why
I
I'm
thought.
on the fence. I'm like, I don't know if I want to take from these other places to
others?
be able to give to something that we're all on the fence on.
yep.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
But what's the option? Because I said, I will back off. If
Yeah.
everybody else wants to say no, I will back off. I figured that if we do this, we can
Yeah, no, I
have an
understand.
alternative.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just I'm just putting that out into the universe.
I mean, I don't think either decision is going to be entirely comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd like to at least know that we have a couple of options.
Yeah.
And if that were the case, you know, if you were only shaving $100 off of the few that were very high, would that be enough to balance out?
I don't see that happening.
Then if that's the case, we got to say no.
I mean, we would have to take at least 100 off of like 5 to 6 different programs.
That's why I wanted to go through and see whether or not that was even possible to do.
There aren't that many that we really could take 100 off of.
yeah.
Well, I've got 3 down here right now, and we still have a few that we can look at.
That we're taking 100 off of.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not sure. I have listed Dole Bear, Greenwood, Arts Library. If it turned out that there was enough from those, would we want to do it? There's no sense in going any further on this if we don't want to do that at all. What I'm saying is we may do we want to look at some of the higher awards and see if taking away from those would allow us to do 50% for these two. But if we're not willing to do that to begin with, then let's just say no. But if we do want to think of an alternative, then let's finish this list.
I'm not very clear on the, is the Linden Tree, do they do the Linden Tree Coffee House series of musical things at the UU just because it's the venue that they use, or is it associated with worshiping there? Do you know what I'm saying?
Hold
They-
on.
they
sent
rent
me
the
They
space.
sent me their receipts with a ton of paperwork.
They rent the space, Lori, and
They do, so-
they've also had it in outdoors at the.
Yes,
by the
you had said that.
Yeah.
It is
Um,
its own, I believe it's its own nonprofit, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if this is worth any weight one way or the other, but these were both submitted by Liz Friedman.
Yeah.
Say that again,
Um,
Ira, I didn't, what did you,
These were both submitted by the same person.
which,
Both
Do you
Linden
and
Tree
the Ezekiel?
and yeah, correct.
oh, really?
So you've got the same situation. They're in religious buildings, but they're not necessarily
Right,
related.
So,
And Linden Tree's asking for 1,500, and the Ezekiel project 700. I mean, what we could potentially do is take the 565 and proportionally distribute it between the two. We could, take the 35 from administrative costs to round it out to 600 and give 300 to each. We could say no to both and distribute the remaining 565 to another.
and we could see if we could have each elementary at 700, and I think that gets us 800, another $100, maybe?
Well, that's
There's a
why I
lot.
think it might make sense to like look at what are we giving the concert band? What are we giving Morales?
hold on. Sorry, I was looking at something else.
Concert
100.
band is 500.
Okay, forget that. Morales?
Morales is 425.
Diana, are you able to share your screen? That might facilitate the conversation a little bit.
Well, I mean, everybody is able to get to, I shared the link with everybody. They're able
okay.
to get to it on their own through
Okay.
the
Oh,
website.
okay.
So through the email on the,
Oh, okay. So yeah, I didn't even think of that. Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you go to the link that I sent you, it's being updated in real time. You can see what I'm doing.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So I figured that's probably easier than sharing.
I
Yeah, it
couldn't
is.
do that, Diana. I had to download it.
Really?
No, mine's open.
I can share my screen if that helps people.
Yeah, that might, because I'm trying to do it on,
I've got two people in here with me right now.
No, I
No.
see it.
Sherry has
Ira, if
disabled.
you want to share it, that's cool.
Screen
I was
sharing.
gonna do one of them on my phone.
I mean, I can share it, but
I think the way it's set up is not actually able to share.
yeah, I
Like,
can't. I just tried
it
sharing
doesn't-
now and I can't. Only the host can do it.
Okay.
Oh, I see it. No, I was looking at something else. I was looking at the Excel sheet. I see it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Lori did one and then I changed it.
Yeah.
Cause sorry.
No, I see it now.
Lori, you're designated as the host. You're the one person that can share a screen.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm looking at the spreadsheet on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Sorry. All right, hold on. I'll do that. If I can.
Am I still waiting or
Um,
yeah, okay, never mind.
Okay,
Yeah. Thanks, Lori.
Wait a second. Yeah, since this is taking over my whole screen, I don't know if I can actually do any work on it right now.
Okay,
Oh,
If you press escape, Diana,
Just
it should-
escape from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
can I, hold on, can I make it smaller? How do I do that?
I think Lori
Uh,
would have to do it.
Oh, I know, up here
Yeah.
maybe.
There's your Zoom.
Much better.
Let me know if you want me to move down, because I still have 9 that aren't being shown.
I'm curious if it's gonna move if I move it.
Oh, can I give you like,
No.
you know how on Teams, I can give you like to the wheel? Can I do that in Zoom? I don't know.
The wheel? I don't know what that is.
Make someone else the host.
Yeah, make somebody else like take over the wheel.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I
Uh,
should be able to, at least for screen sharing purposes.
So let's see. New share. I don't,
I'm not sure what everyone is doing. Are
it
you-
says
are
one
you looking
participant
at the
can share at a
amount?
time. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. I'll hit that one. Advanced sharing options. Let's see what it says. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Dual monitors recommended. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not big in Zoom. I know Microsoft Teams a lot better. I don't know
That's fair.
how else to do this.
This is how I do it. And I have notebooks from years. and years.
mm,
Does anybody want me to make it even smaller?
Sure, try 50%, see if you get the other 9.
You can't stretch the screen at
so
the
small, you
bottom?
can't see it.
No.
Yeah.
hold on.
That's not bad, really. I can see it.
Okay.
I can see what we need to see.
mm,
Okay, so if I do move around on this, it does automatically update on the share screen. Okay, I was just curious about
Yeah.
that.
It does.
Cool.
If we gave the Dole Bear 700 and we took 50 away from the Walton School, now we've got 150 in addition to that other money. So we've taken
565 plus 150.
So we're taking 50 away from Walton? Or 150?
50 away from Walton, leaving them at 700,
Okay.
100 away from Dole Bear,
Mhm,
leaving them at 700. So
mhm.
that does give us,
And you know what? Greenwood garbage, we funded at 100%, whereas we only funded Dole Bear at 80%.
yeah, but they're each getting 700. That feels more
Yeah.
equitable to me.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that now we're up to what in what remains? We're up to about
715.
715.
how much?
715.
715. Okay.
And what about the library? If we did the library at 80% instead of 100%, that gives us $200 more.
Yeah, so that would be
Yeah.
915.
But the library work is available to everyone for free, and we're trying to move
Yeah.
money to 2
Yeah,
projects
that's
that charge
true.
$20
Okay,
a
yep.
person.
Okay.
yeah, I definitely agree with that.
you know, on the 2 music dance ones, if we took 80 away from the second one, she asks for 680, she wants 580. If we only gave her 500, there's another $80 in our pot. That's the autism one. I am autistic. I am fantastic. That would give us an additional $80 if we wanted to go there.
I think what we should do is decide whether we want to give haircuts to fund.
Well, that's what
these-
I've been asking.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
I
feeling-
think, I think,
I've been asking that the whole time. If we
Yes.
don't want
I
to
know
do
you
that,
have.
we don't need this conversation.
Yeah, I'm with Sarah. I'm kind of don't want to give either.
I'm
so
leaning towards
I'm-
no as well.
me too.
What is the reason then? Is it because it's a religious institution?
For me, that's the reason.
I
And
know
then-
that's right. Yeah.
And
Tara-
then, but then
Sarah,
the
you've been very
20
clear.
the $20 costs on top of that adds to it.
Yeah, but they can also charge for tickets, so they do have another way to fund these.
Mhm.
And it's not like they're going to double their ticket prices. So I could say no to both of them or give them a real pittance, give them $300 each or something like that. And let them just add to their ticket costs or charge for refreshments. I don't have a problem with that.
What's your thoughts, Stephanie?
You mean give them the rest of the split of the 5, whatever it was? I'm okay with that, giving them a lower amount of money. My issue was the cost, and I'd rather give money to, I liked other projects and proposals better. So I'd be okay with giving them the lower amount, which is kind of really low from what they're asking, or give that money to other.
I mean, would giving them like 300 each be insulting?
Yeah, see, that's, I don't know.
Could be. Maybe it's just better to say no.
I mean,
No, I think that anything, especially given the letter, you know, the letter says we've had a, you know, we've had far more requested than we have funds for. What Sarah read, the letter that she got. I
Yeah, it's
think
very
is-
vanilla. It doesn't say, you know.
And that's, I mean, that's standard. That's, you know, when
Yeah.
I've had rejections,
That's
That's
exactly
standard.
what they say.
They could also watch this 2-hour discussion and take issue with it.
Well, yes, they could.
Just
well, that's
to
why
answer
I
your
think we
question
need to
about
be
whether it's
clear.
insulting, Stephanie, I've applied for $1,500 before and gotten 311,
Mhm.
which was so
Yeah.
random, but
What, did you feel
yeah.
insulted or anything? Or
I was just happy to get some of it, and then, you know, the venues gave me the difference.
yeah, I wouldn't mind splitting that. Those the lower cost then. It's not insulting.
okay. So we have 715 left. Should we do it proportion to what they're asking or split it evenly?
Put it evenly. Which means that somebody's getting 50% and somebody else is getting less than 50. Linden Tree, which is better known.
Actually, I'm not sure about that. Hold on. Okay, so this would be, yeah. I mean, Ezekiel would be getting just over 50.
Yeah. That would be okay with me.
And then that would be 24% for Linden.
Well, that's the way it is.
So of the 29, how many are actually getting something? 21?
3, 4, 5, 6,
Eight.
7,
8 or no.
8. So 21.
Okay.
I think that's,
Seems pretty good.
yeah. And what is our bottom line?
We're at 0 right now.
And with, that's with,
That's with $350 of administrative costs.
because I see a 13,150. What is that?
That's what we're allowed.
Ah, I thought we were allowed 13,500. No, it's 150.
Oh wait, where is that? What is that?
Yeah,
G3 to G3. Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought we were
no,
allowed,
so that's the grant amount we're giving out plus 350 equals 13,500.
fine, okay, I didn't see our admin on this. Okay, that, yes, because it was 13,500 that I remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. My bad. But I know what it is.
You're doing amazing work, Diana. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Um,
Just a
Thank God
question
for 4 minutes.
for the minutes. I'm not, all I'm writing down is that the agreement was to split the remaining funds between these two unless, you know, we're gonna see the spreadsheet. We're not necessarily gonna know that there was X amount left and we decided to split it. Does that matter when I send these minutes out to you?
These are fine.
Okay,
that's fine.
because all I'm saying is we've agreed to split the remaining funds equally between
Right.
the two. Okay.
So what do we do next exactly? Says the newbie. We
First,
send out the denials or what do we do? Are we-
denials,
The
Deni-
denials
denials
have to
go
go out
out.
by January 1st?
and then
Don't we
we,
have to put things onto like into their system?
Yes.
Mhm.
the denials go out and we have to wait the 2 weeks for any appeals, I think, before we can send out acceptances.
Right.
So if I remember this correctly, we took some volunteers, somebody to do denials, and then we kind of split the acceptance letters into like bunches of 5 or something like
Right.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can do the denials. I've never done them before, so this will be
Okay.
new.
And I'll help with the acceptances.
Yeah, we can split the acceptances among the rest of us.
So something as a recipient from other towns, I've seen a wide variety of how the acceptances come. And
Yeah.
I have received from other towns like a full package that has the W-9 form, that has the reimbursement form, the acceptance letter, and with the amount. And I think that that's where they're moving toward from the guidelines, but Wakefield has not done it that way, as far as I know. So that
But-
might be
but-
something that we do this year for the first
But
time.
we don't do that for a while. I mean, we're not doing that right away, right?
We
Not
won't
till
do that
January.
till the new year.
Yeah.
But now, Sarah, you received this snail mail? You received these on paper
Some
or
towns do it
electronically?
snail mail, and some some do it through email with a download.
So, okay, so if we were able to have access to like W-9,
Well, it's just a
Form,
generic
okay.
form, it's an empty government
Right.
form, the W-9.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Yeah, you can just get that right off the internet.
But
Yeah.
that is more common now than uncommon. So, and it does, this is just something my experience has been, it's easier when I get the whole package as
absolutely.
a
Yeah.
grant
Yeah.
recipient.
And it should be fairly straightforward. I mean, the letter should be the only thing that really gets customized with the
Right.
With the amount,
recipients.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's only the
Information.
recipient's, name, yeah. And then we do have to enter that into the what do they call it? The panel?
Smart simple.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Should we set up a meeting for like the first week of the year? The rejections have to go out by January 1st, right?
I'll do them this week. So they'll go out.
Okay, but that's the date, right?
Yeah, it's by January
So-
1st, but from the day I
Yep.
send them, it starts the clock of, I believe it's 2 weeks for
It's
appeal.
2 weeks.
Right, okay.
And
But
then we can send acceptance anytime after that.
But my guess is that we're probably not going to want to meet the week before Christmas.
Agreed.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to meet the first week of January to just run through what we have to do, or do we want to try to take care of that via email?
Yeah,
Can we
let's-
take care of
let's-
that via email?
Let's meet, Kathleen. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
'Cause and
I'm a little
we'll-
unsure of what I'm supposed to be doing really with things and
Okay.
putting it
So
in
it's
your
better to
It
system.
took me forever to figure out those acceptance letters last year. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'd
It took
rather
a
have
while,
structure
it took
too.
a while for me, yeah. So shall we, use a doodle poll for the first week
I can
unless,
send out a doodle poll for that. I'll still be in Florida, but that's okay. I can certainly take a call
okay,
in the evening, one of those nights. I'll send out a
Okay.
doodle poll right after we hang up here.
Okay.
okay, for the first week
Great.
in January?
And I'll start, like, we
Yeah.
don't go back to work, I think, till like the 3rd. Let me see.
The
sounds
first
great.
is a Sunday, I believe.
Yeah, and then we get the
Yeah.
2nd off.
Yeah.
So I'll start a doodle poll, like started on the 3rd. And I'll offer a couple of nights and maybe that first weekend, although we'd be getting into the later in January, but okay, so I will send out a doodle poll as soon as we hang up here.
Okay.
Thanks, Lori. And
Yeah.
Sarah's got the denials.
Sarah,
I'll-
thank you for doing the 8
Yes, thank
denials.
you.
That's super
Sure.
helpful.
Yeah.
I'll touch base with Carol and Cole and just find out exactly what 2022 protocol is, and then I can report back after
Okay.
at our next meeting.
So we are set for now. We've done what we need. We've done
I
due
think so.
diligence now. Yes?
I think so.
For
I
now,
believe
yeah.
so.
Okay.
Diana,
And-
thank you for doing the spreadsheet so
Oh,
beautifully.
Diana, that
Yeah, that was
fabulous.
fantastic.
And I do apologize for getting somewhat cranky over those last two.
No, that was fine. I
Um,
didn't find you cranky at all.
It's all part of
Wow.
the process, Kathleen.
This year we had-
I'll try harder to be crankier next time. No, anyway, I do, I do apologize if it was a bit too,
No, you were
I thought it was a bit
Not at all.
cranky.
No
No.
worries.
not at all.
Thank you.
Okay,
Kathleen, I
Great.
wish we could debate more. I like it.
Say again?
yes,
Mm,
I wish
What's
we
that?
could debate more. I like it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's fine.
See, this is what happens when you retire, I don't have faculty senate to stand up and argue in, so you guys get the benefit of it.
I have other groups where people want to argue. Please, it's made me want to stop being a volunteer in certain events. Really has. I mean, I'm thinking, why am I doing this? Not this, but
This is good
one
work,
or two other
everybody.
places where people are
Well,
arguing.
in case, Marlene, in case you're just being nice and I am cranky, know that my term ends in the end of March and I'm practicing to say no to some things because I've got way too much going on. So you wouldn't have to deal with me again for one
Oh,
of these
please, I
discussions.
could tell you about cranky, but I won't because I don't carry tales, but I have a group I belong to and I'm upset
Okay.
after so many different meetings because of a particular person. I don't know if
Okay.
I'd call it cranky as much as sort of an obstructionist. That's even
Oh, yeah.
worse than cranky,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
all right.
I would like to
All right.
ask, I would like to ask if it's possible, because I'm still dealing with reimbursements and all that stuff behind the
Yeah.
scenes, if I can bow out of doing acceptance letters.
Why
Oh,
not?
absolutely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Once I have a
100%.
sense of what we do, I don't mind doing some acceptance letters at all, especially if we can do some online or do them online.
Yeah. I
It's,
don't
Yeah.
yes,
anymore.
absolutely online.
Yeah.
I
and
just
Once-
need to know what it is we're doing and putting
Yeah,
in
once
there.
you figure it out, make sure, usually we're able to do what, there'll be 21 of them.
21.
Yes.
So if there's 3 of us,
It's
we're
nothing,
each
it's 7
doing
each, it's nothing.
7
She
each.
says.
And just make sure you have enough time to do them all at the same time, because if you're like me, it takes a half an hour to figure out how you do it. And then if you don't do them all at once, the
Yep.
next day you have to do that half hour all over
Okay.
again.
I think Caroline wanted to slap me by the end because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know that I'm late. I'm really sorry.
I will bear all that in mind, believe me,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. As long as you can do them all at once, and if it's 7, you can. Okay.
Can I just thank everybody for your work here today as somebody who
Yeah.
really depends on this type of grant from other towns.
Yeah.
This is really important and meaningful and impactful work, and it takes a lot of effort from volunteers. So thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
second
you.
that, Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody, for coming prepared, willing to, have good conversations about, how we can fund these projects and which projects make sense for the community. So
Okay.
thank you all
Okay,
for your
good.
work.
Thank
All
you. You're
right.
very welcome.
Thank
All
you
right.
all.
Thank
Happy
Bye.
holidays,
Great.
everyone.
Bye.
Happy
Happy
holidays. Bye, everybody.
holidays, if we're doing holidays, whatever.
You
Bye-bye.
too.